Hello. This is a little different from how sessions before and the sessions continuing will go. Unfortunately, without getting too many details, session 4 of Blood War was lost and cannot be recovered. So, in order to keep the story progressing, I will give you guys a short recap about what happened. So, to start off with, Dolan and his sergeant Merrill were ambushed by a group of youngling orcs and the witch doctor Mamauja. Merrill decides to cut a path through them to allow Dolan to escape, and she does so. Though, as she cuts through these children, their black blood falls upon her and begins to melt away. Her sword is almost instantly melted away after cutting this path, and Dolan, after making his escape, watches as she is forced to run into the woods, tearing off armor that's melting away as she's tearing it off, the children closely after. So Dolan decides to do the heroic thing and go after her. Sneakily, of course. He, sticking to the tree lines, he finally finds Meryl at the shore of a small lake, looking to make a final stand. And while he's looking around, he manages to find Mama Wuja, uh, hiding herself close by, and decides to take the opportunity and fire a crossbow bolt at her. It makes contact, but it unleashes a bright orange light, and soon after, the demanding cry of Mama Wuja to track down the thing that shot at her before she disappears. Well, after picking off a few of these orcs that were looking for him, Dolan goes to Meryl and finds her unconscious. Most of her armor had been pulled away successfully, but a few pieces were not removed in time. Mostly on her shoulder, her right shoulder, and her left thigh, the pieces of metal she could not remove had melted into her skin, and she looks to be in very bad shape. So Dolan decides to carry Merrill and make his way slowly back to camp. Meanwhile, Corvus and Lucius managed to free Graves from his situation tied up on the stake. Though Lucius does accidentally cut Graves on the arm, nick him a little bit, they pull him down and are interrupted from further plans by a loud wailing noise. So the two decide to split up. Corvus heads towards the well in hopes of finding Merrill and Dolan, while Lucius takes Graves back to camp, and while discovering that Graves has very strange markings written in blood all over his body. On the way back, Lucius happens to run into Broggan, and Broggan informs Lucius that these markings on Graves' body indicates very powerful orc symbols, blood magic, that if they are removed, the parts of the body they are tied to will fail, such as if the markings on Graves' arm were disturbed or removed, he would lose his arm, and so on and so forth. They go over several plans to try and stop the witch doctor briefly, some involving Brosgan's rituals that could summon wolves. But meanwhile, Corvus, while on his journey, is ambushed by orc children and the mother Wuja. He easily, however, takes them all off guard and smashes his way through the children before confronting the doctor and beats her repeatedly, going through her magical defenses and wounding her. She flees, however, and escapes. Back at camp, Broggan and Lucius have a little disagreement about the superiority of their races, mostly between orcs and elves. So that soon erupts into a fight that Broggan immediately decides it's best to flee from and escapes into the woods. Dolan arriving almost right after with Merrill, so Lucius drops his wanting to destroy the orc and tends to Merrill as best he can. And while he does as best he can, Merrill's leg seems to be it's very permanent. the with pieces he couldn't free from her thigh, and it seems that she will probably never move the same way ever again. While running away, Bragan runs into Corvus, and the soldier bemoans the situation and his desire to leave all this, but continues his way to camp. And with the orc being alone, he turns himself into a wolf before heading deeper into the woods. Corvus meets up with his squad, and they begin to discuss more plans of action to defeat Mama Wuja, and decide on a plan to ambush the witch, but realize that they will need their orc guide in order to pull it off, so they send Dolan up to track him down. Bragan, however, has his own plans, and tracks down Mother Wuja with the help of her children, who lead him to her directly. And through her, he learns a few things, namely that the Graves is more than just coded in these symbols. He is directly linked to her, that if she were to die, he would die as well. But it's not vice versa. If he dies, he just die. If he dies, he just dies. After a talk of trust, Mama Wuja cuts off her own hand for Braga to take back and deliver to his group and pronounce that she is dead, and sends him off with the final information of their war chief Piagen being alone and very much defenseless within his spider tunnels below his own encampment. Bragan, before leaving, reveals that he had initially come to kill her, but decided that there's more to be gained by working together, and goes along with the witch's plans. So, that's that. That's the recap. So far, there should be no more of these. We should have full-on sessions. So again, I apologize, but it is what it is. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.